Hello, world history students. This is Mrs. Politsky, and I have your notes for Chapter 35, Section 1 Political Changes in the Modern World. And again, we're focusing on South and Southeast Asia, primarily on South Asia right here. In the 1990s, India was able to loosen controls of many of its industries and reduce its trade barriers. This led to significant economic gains. India for a time has been kind of considered what we would call a developing economy because of the fact that some of its industries are very fragile when it comes time to looking at um, economic factors such as drought or um, floods and things of that nature. But India has really diversified itself really in the last 30 years. And it is becoming a huge player economically when we talk about the global economy. But they do face a lot of challenges. And some of the challenges that are out there are nuclear weapons. India and Pakistan really during the 1990s was kind of in a state of Cold War. They were kind of like challenging each other, and both nations had developed a nuclear weapons program. Matter of fact, in 1997, there was fear that a nuclear war might break out between those two nations. But needless to say, some of that's quieted down, but they still have that capacity. And certainly that is a concern for countries like the United States, hoping that these nations won't necessarily try to use those kind of weapons against one another. There's also issues with religious and ethnic tensions when we talk about really the dynamic between Muslims, Hindus, Sikhs, and Buddhism. Um, there have been occasional wars or violence that has occurred, and some of this still occurs even today. A lot of it in the form of like terroristic acts. Not only that, but you also have the situation with the social classes, and certainly that can be a factor. So, extreme poverty certainly is a big problem here. Though that there is a rising upper class, there's still a vast majority of people who are living in extreme poverty conditions. And then finally, you have political upheaval. Anytime that we have leaders that are being assassinated or ousted from power, certainly that causes great concern. All right. Two groups that have fought one another in Sri Lanka since 1983 are the Sinhalese and a group known as the Tamil Tigers. These groups had fought basically for about 25 years or so. And in May 2009, they ended their fighting when the Tamil Tigers were defeated by the Sri Lankan army. But again, there was a lot of violence here, a lot of terroristic acts, and there's still some hard feelings that still exist to this day. Back in 1971, East Pakistan decided to seek its independence from West Pakistan, or present day Pakistan. And the Pakistani government responded with force, and thousands of people died in the civil war. India sent troops to support East Pakistan, and that nation eventually became known as Bangladesh. In the early 1970s, Bangladesh was faced with some natural disaster issues. There was vast flooding that occurred and a lot of homelessness as a result of that. All right, you have finished this unit, and thank you very much.